I started off with let's move on. Let's go ahead and move on. I moved on to the reason why I had the air quotes because we starting off with the NFC West. Now they were, let's say last year, they're one of the best divisions in football. Now some teams have made some decisions. They ain't took them out the running. They out of consideration when it comes to the best division in football. But that's why they got the air quotes. And I'm sorry, my guy's cooking. So we gonna definitely give him them takes.
That boy,
he gonna mess the chicken up. He gonna mess the chicken up.
He gonna burn them noodles. He gonna burn that ramen.
Not that ramen.
Not the ramen though. But let's go ahead and start off with one of the worst teams in the division, probably the worst team in the league, potentially. These Seattle Seahawks. Traditionally, go ahead, Cannon.
I mean, what do you want us to say about them? They lost Russell Wilson. They either going with Drew Lock or Geno.
They named Geno the starter.
Oh, all right. Well, they're going with Geno. You know how I feel about Geno. I mean, I wouldn't be too confident if I had Geno going under center as my starter. But when you're dealing with a journeyman, sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle. Now, I do have them ranked dead last in this division, but there's always a box of chance for everybody. So I'll leave the door cracked for them because anything can happen. Especially, I hate to say it, and I hate to say this, we know once the game starts, especially the way they practice now, injuries are going to happen. So some teams who predicted to be, the contenders in the division might not be if, unfortunately. So we'll see.
You said you leaving the door cracked for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm closing the door. I'm putting the deadlock on it, the deadbolt, the chain on it, everything. This team is ass. If they was fully, I understand you mentioned injuries and you were talking about other team injuries.
Yeah.
Because if this team is still fully healthy, they are fully ass. So, I'm just not understanding what they was thinking, what they were trying to do. I understand this is a rebuilding year, so there's really no need to kick them out of down so much. But they chose this field. They chose this.
That's why I tried to build them up.
They chose this avenue, to getting rid of Russell Wilson. I personally wouldn't have got rid of Russell Wilson. I would have got rid of Pete Carroll old ass. Like the time has passed us by. He's still trying to use this archaic ass offense, trying to still be, trying to still catch lightning in the bottle, as Candace said, how he won the Super Bowl, how the Legion of Boom days, the glory days. He's still trying to use those, and that's what was holding them back.
That's the only reason why I gave him a crack too.
But that's what's been holding them back. Yeah. Let Russ cook. That just wasn't a cool thing to say. That was a whole movement. Like, please let him cook. It's time to get to the new age of football. But no, you still want to run the ball first, be a more run-oriented team, protect the ball, and lean on your defense.
You know why?
When your defense isn't good.
You know why you want to run the ball first?
I'm listening.
He messed up that call, man. He been in the run first ever since.
Go ahead, AJ.
Yeah. I really ain't got much to say about the Seattle Seahawks, but I do. He ain't here right now, and he hasn't been here in a while. But I just want to go back to a point in time where Fourth Man Tour used to come on here and tell us that Drew Lock was the guy. And I just want to say, yeah, we never believed you. We told you needed more people, and now look at Drew Lock.
Out to Geno Smith.
And I remember I came on here a couple years ago, like Eli Manning's last couple years. I was like, hey, bro, Geno is better than Eli at this point in time. And their season would have fared a lot different if they gave him a shot. Geno is, I won't say he's terrible, but he's like a step above that. Like he bad. Like terrible. Like his ass.
He had terrible. He just had some real bad luck too, man.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying he has some good weapons on the outside, but outside of that, it ain't a whole bunch there. I think this is going to be, like you said, with what they got back from that trade, for Wilson. So glad I didn't call him Russell Westbrook. What they got back in that trade for Wilson, this is putting them in prime position to get Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, somebody, and really begin like kickstart this rebuild with a whole bunch of picks and hopefully, well, I don't really care, so I ain't gonna say hopefully, but they make the right choices and they, get some guys and get this ship rolling again.
Can I piggyback on that right quick, bro?
Do you
Go
think?
ahead.
All right, we got some pushback because we
I don't
had
know. You can't piggyback on that. Like,
we had some pushback because we had Pete Carroll on the hot seat, right?
mhm.
Like a couple in the comments, they were saying, we know it's a rebuilding year, it's a rebuild. They rebuild it on purpose. It's no need for him to be on the
Let me
hot
jump
seat.
in after that.
Okay, cool. My thing is though, like it's a reason why things didn't work out with Russell Wilson. Like I said, like I stated earlier, let Russ cook was a thing. It's a reason why you wasn't doing. Okay, you go get one of those young quarterbacks that you just named. Okay, I don't know. I don't care who's the best. Pick one. Is Pete Carroll is Pete Carroll the one?
Exactly.
Is Pete Carroll the one to get them back into the glory days? And I think
he old as hell anyway.
Yeah, he
So
old. Man.
so when they need to go for the rebuild, they need to actually do rebuild from the top. From the top, start from the top.
And here's my thing also with that and why Pete Carroll is on the hot seat. I think Pete Carroll ain't gonna be around after they get a quarterback. He's gone, and I think that might truly be a plan. It's almost gonna be like either he's gonna groom somebody, or they're gonna try and get one of these guys from
this point.
He's gonna try and get one of these guys from this Shanahan McVay tree because that's what everybody's doing. And they're going to try and usher in that new regime with that quarterback and pair them. Because what have we always seen? It's like when the new quarterback comes in, you want the head coach. When the new head coach comes in, he wants his quarterback because their careers are married together.
Yeah, and but sometimes the coach need a head start because there's so much other things when you're a brand new head coach than just being married to that quarterback. So it's like if they would have just, like, to Hill's point, and I'm not disagreeing with you neither, AJ, but just
because I'm about to say something here too.
If they would actually move away from Pete Carroll because they know that that's a hindrance to the organization at this point. Like, your time has passed, bro, and you're not going to usher us into the future. So bring in a new guy, let him get his feet wet, learning the NFL or being a coach if you're going to go with a first-time head coach. You feel me? And then let him pick his guy because he'll know exactly what the team is missing. So before it's like I'm coming in, I'm looking from the outside in, and I'm trying to marry my stay here with a quarterback. But if I'm here and I actually know what I need in a quarterback, I can actually scout with the team that's here. We all can be on one accord. We got a better chance. It's like people are afraid of developing. Right. Coaches also. So it's like, you can't just pick a coach and pick a quarterback and think that the marriage is it don't work like that. We've seen it over and over and over again. It's a bad recipe.
There's multiple ways to do it because sometimes you don't necessarily want to come, have that coach come in and you have this losing culture and then you bring that player in and the culture is already bad. But there have been times, I'll say with the Bengals, Zach Taylor. He was on his last leg. He got his guy. But that was one of the things that I've said. Like, regardless of what happened, he flipped that culture because he got rid of Carlos Dunlap. He got rid of Geno Atkins. He got rid of some of those, those players from the older regime.
He had the opportunity.
And he had like guys like Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, Jesse Bates. Those guys were truly, truly bought in. And that's one of the biggest things that you'll talk about.
They're doing homework, man.
Right. That's what they'll say.
We out here working, they're doing homework.
The culture is the biggest thing and how you can bring those players in. So I think sometimes they don't want to, subject that coach to a losing culture and have those players kind of, not necessarily have that buy-in, but it just all depends. It just all depends. I was fed up and I still have my issues.
AJ was pissed off with that. He didn't want to see no bright spots.
I said, remember how you felt about Willie Taggart?
Doing better than they were doing before he was there is all I was trying to say, and got him to the Super Bowl and almost got the thing, just didn't get it. But I mean, if that ain't a coach getting better every year, I don't know what the hell is.
Then he dissed him last week. He dissed him last week too, and then tried to clean it up.
I mean, this man can win a Super Bowl at this point, and it's still gonna say
no.
He could have. he could have done more. Watch.
Here's my thing. It's okay to enjoy him, but I still am able to criticize him.
I feel you.
He's not beyond criticize. Like he ain't beyond that. Because like I've said,
show some love too, then.
My issues with him. Okay, I guess I need to do it like you do it, like I do with my child.
Yeah, there you go.
For every bad thing I say, I need to follow it up with a good thing, with a positive.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to balance it out with the every negative. I got to balance it out with positive. So
there you go.
So Zach, you have built a great culture in Cincinnati, and you got everybody bought in.
Damn right.
All right, let's move on to the Cardinals. Funny thing about the Cardinals is you can see when they got Kyler Murray, rookie year, he did his thing. You could see the trajectory of the team was going up. And then the next year they got more wins, and you'd be like, okay, this team is on the cusp of doing something. And then they finally broke through, became a playoff team, and was looking like something till Kyler Murray, hurt his ankle. He never was the same coming back. They never was the same when DeAndre Hopkins got hurt. And it was like, you would think that, okay, boom, they finally got over to getting to the playoff hump. Now we should be more confident on this team. But for me personally, I have zero confidence in the Cardinals this year.
Yeah.
And I feel that's, even though that is how I feel, I still feel that's kind of wrong for me to feel that way based off the acquisitions that they made, based off everything that they've done. I think that is wrong still, even though I'm not changing how I feel. I do think it's wrong not giving them the credit on building something. Like you say, Rome wasn't built overnight, and they did everything possibly on what you were supposed to do, how to build a team in the proper way. But I have zero confidence in this team, to be quite honest.
Yeah. One of the biggest things is they lose Nuke for 6 games. So did we ever figure out what he took? Did they ever tell us what these players take?
They never really tell it, and then the players always say the same exact thing.
It was a substance and something else. And, yeah.
But all right, so they lost Nuke, but they did acquire Marquise Brown, so that's a plus. But they also lost Kirk, and then they lost what's the other running back they lost?
Chase Edmonds. He went to Miami.
Yeah, so I was high on them last year, but it's like I don't feel like they did anything to improve, and I feel like the remaining 2 teams are just strong in the division. So I don't feel like they're that far behind though, but I just don't feel like they'll have enough to get it done, especially with Nuke being gone for 6 games. Unless he can come back and just hit the ground clicking, and they can win 4 games while he out. But only time will tell.
I just don't think that they have the structure in place to actually be a team that you can count on. I think they are who we thought they were. They gonna crumble because they don't have the structure in place to really handle it, and they don't have that high level talent where it's just like the talent is always gonna win out. Because this, like with football, it makes it tough where it's just like you have to not only have the talent, but you also have to have the structure. And I think that's where they have that structure. And I think, I've always had my issues with Cliff, and he hasn't changed my mind since he got into the league. I know people were talking about, but he's winning and this and that. It's something like, but okay, this team has plateaued, and it don't look good when it gets to that. When it gets to the final product and where you want to see, that next step. And we've seen plenty of coaches get fired because they can't take that next step. Who was it? Marty Schottenheimer went like 14-2, but he couldn't. And you ain't even doing that. Y'all was at one point was the number 1 seed, and then looked like y'all shouldn't even have been a playoff team come playoff time. So to me, you don't have the structure in place to be consistent, and that's why I don't have faith in them at all.
I'm glad you said that because it made me remember on what they was doing this whole offseason. And when you said the structure in place, I'm thinking about the top to the bottom, from the front office to Kyler Murray. Like the way the front office reacted to how Kyler Murray wanted his contract, the way he reacted, the way everybody was acting. This is a whole childish game and y'all playing tick for tack. I'm like, come on, bro. At some point, are y'all really trying to win games, or y'all just trying to win the social media war? Like, and some like what's going on here in Arizona, and that's what really turned me off. I'm like, you know what, y'all playing the front office playing games with putting this the contract clause and then leaking the contract clause.
Then rescinding it,
and then rescinding it because you heard the backlash. Kyler Murray acting like a whole for the contract, getting the contract. Then you got to have this clause in your contract. It's making us not believe in you. At some point, we never believed in Cliff Kingsbury anyway. So it's like, you know, it's just like you say. I'm glad you said the structure in place was the one. I'm like, cause that triggered me to think about this offseason, how terrible this whole offseason was, and made them negate every positive that they made. They took 2 steps back on how they act. They acted like kids.
Yeah, and I got more faith in Kyler than I do in the organization, though, from just how they acted. Because one, I don't care what they say, like Kyler ain't showed us in the first 2 years that he just don't watch film and that he needed that in his clause. Like, and two, if you put that in this, like, if I gotta put that in your clause, I'm not signing you to that type of money.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Like, especially if I'm willing to take it out because other people are talking. Let me tell you one thing. If I put something in a contract, I don't give a damn what anybody else says besides for my lawyer, you, and your lawyer.
And why do they got to leak it? Because guess what? He signed it. It's signed.
Exactly. But the fact that y'all put it in there is just
it's
a disrespect thing. It's a disrespect thing. It's like that. If y'all don't believe,
can he sue them for breach of contract for taking it out? Like, big
I'm pretty sure they got a clause in there that can say that they can go back and do whatever they want.
Right.
To do,
but and that's like really truly that's my biggest issue is just there. To me, if you have an issue with how he is preparing, stand on it. Put that clause in there, but don't just put that clause in there and say, hey, Kyler, go, you got to watch film for this amount of time. Who's actually going to be there with him, helping him to understand what he is watching on film?
Just watch it.
Bro, that's like sending a 5-year-old there, hey, go read this book.
Exactly, bro.
And then try to test them on it.
Being paid. So if you need players watching film, coaches need to be coaching them up. Why are they watching film? Every time I watch film,
where's this quarterback coach?
When I was
like,
what
did you see here?
It was with the coach, bro. Yeah. I ain't have no film projector at home.
Yeah, like what are we doing? But like, listen, y'all had anything more to say about the Cardinals?
No, we don't need to spend that much time on the Cardinals.
And we did. Let's move on. We got the 49ers coming up, and you know,
well.
Yeah, let's
go. 49ers will go as far as Trey Lance will take them, man. And I don't know if I am sold on Trey Lance at all. I mean, he does have talent, but
and so I'll jump in because I was
the one.
Yep. I was the one in the draft. And remember pre-draft when they traded up, and I did say, hey, they going for Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
So I do believe that there's still concerns, which unfortunately, like I can't say it's understandable because in this time frame, you would have hoped that they would have done enough together to kind of ramp him up and put him in position to be prepared. But what I will say also is as he gets these game reps, I think it's going to start out ugly, but that defense is going to carry him, and they're going to be able to.
They got some weapons.
They're going to be able to, run the ball. They're going to be able to put those, quick over, the middle routes and get the ball in their playmakers' hands. I actually think like Brandon Ayuk is going to take a step.
I like Brandon Ayuk, man.
Yeah, so, I do think he's going to take a whole nother elevation.
So I think he's going to take a step,
and I think coming back.
And it's the same thing that we said with Tua. Hey, bro, like you just got to be Jimmy.
I was about to say it.
Oh, my fault.
You good?
But like, I mean, bro, if you could just be Jimmy until you start to really
need to be better than Jimmy, though, man.
No. What I'm saying is if he can, I'm talking about if he can get his floor somewhere of to where Jimmy was, his ceiling is so much higher.
It's the roof.
So it allows him to start, like as he gets comfortable. That's why I say I think it's going to start ugly, but as he gets comfortable and he actually starts getting those game reps and that game repetition, and he get those number one reps in practice, and he gets that, the attention in the film room, and he starts to get comfortable. I think towards that second half of the season, you're going to see it kind of like a risk, like it's almost like someone coming back from an ACL injury. They getting back in, like they're getting adjusted to the game speed again. But once they get comfortable and they feel like those legs are under them, then they good to go. So I think it's gonna, like, towards this, like the second half of the season, they're going to really see a big leap from him. But it just all depends on where they're going to be at with that defense and that running game, if it can sustain them and keep them afloat. But the NFC is weak, though.
Yeah,
this is how I feel. I feel completely like this.
I was gonna say that Reef has said that they should have took Fields.
Oh yeah, if anybody know, like I said, I had plenty of conversations with him offline, and like I said, he posted in the group. Like you said, he's been adamant about him really wanting Justin Fields over Trey Lance, and like I said, the jury is still out because
it's definitely still out.
What did we say during our draft specials? Like, well, I remember saying Justin Fields should be your pick, but what do the smart guys always try to do? Prove that they're the smartest in the room.
And that's dumb. So just do the right thing.
But that's the problem. See the thing about the front office, looking from an outside perspective, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, how they work together it's impeccable. It's tremendous.
Oh, 100%.
The pieces that they bring in, the style of players that they bring in 49er type players, like, and it works because of the coaching style of Kyle Shanahan and what they got going on. D'Amico Ryan, everything that they do in unison is connection. But when they miss and do something inadequate and stupid, man, it's like it's bad, and it makes you want to wonder. It's like, damn, are these dudes incompetent? And really, in all actuality, they're not. Like I said, I wasn't sold on Trey Lance coming out of the draft. I'm not sold on Trey Lance now. He has to show me something. And the fact that they brought Jimmy G back is the stupidest thing that they can possibly do. Because like you said, you keep saying it's going to start on ugly. You keep letting it start on ugly. Them veterans in it, this is a Super Bowl ready-made team, ready to go. You keep starting out ugly if you want to. Jimmy G out. Jimmy G out here.
For Jimmy G.
They screaming for Jimmy G. Better get it together. You know what I'm saying? Cool.
And that's what scares me for Trey Lance, because he's still young, and you just need to get rid of Jimmy G to just say we're investing in you.
It's yours.
Yes, man. But it's like people, they want to hedge every bet, but you know that quarterback and wide receiver, they're psychological. Like you gotta play to their psyches. You gotta make them feel good. It's all. Do y'all know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
Exactly. That's what you got to do for your quarterback, and you have to make them feel comfortable and make them feel safe. And if you don't, then they turn into the wide receivers turn into divas. You see AB when he didn't, you know what I mean, when he can't have his way, you see what happened, and quarterbacks just fall apart and become a shell of themselves when they don't have it. So I hope
they did
that Trey Lance can overcome the fact that Jimmy G gonna be behind his shoulder, and I hope that the city of San Fran or the fans of San Fran don't just go screaming for Jimmy G if Trey go to making mistakes early, because he need time to get his feet wet.
And we know he needs time. He hasn't played football in a long time, and the fact that that they committed.
That was my point. Yeah,
but they committed to him though. It's like, okay, we committed to it. We moving on from Jimmy G. We're going to go to Trey Lance, and everything was fine. And everybody started saying the right thing. Fred Warner, Trent Williams, all the veterans, all the leaders and stuff. They started saying and the team started rallying around Trey Lance. And then he has one bad preseason game.
Jimmy better not sniff the starting lineup.
But he has one bad preseason game, and oh my God, all the reports just changed. It went from he made with dark horse MVP to they need to keep Jimmy G. And what did they do? They ended up keep Jimmy G. Now I understand he possibly, like we always say, a young quarterback needs a veteran backup to help. They could have went and got somebody else, bro.
Sometimes, yeah. So sometimes
they could have went and got somebody else, bro.
It just all depends, especially because of him being a project. So
no,
you
we know
kind of
that
want that.
defense elite, Eric. My fault.
I was gonna get to that. I was gonna get to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's. I just want to. I ain't want him to think we forgot.
Because this defense is ready.
But that was my point about him having to just be Jimmy G. Like, bro,
Yeah.
just don't don't fuck up. Because that's what Jimmy G do. He fuck up. He out there throwing shit with his eyes closed. Like, bro, just don't do that. And the thing that I think like helps him out is his ability to run. If he just like early on, if he just says, you know what, I don't like it, bro, take off.
Just take it.
Take off.
Gotta be careful.
Get you 3-4 yards.
And on top of that, like I said, that will unlock another dynamic in this offense that, like I said, that Jimmy G couldn't do. And like I said,
the running game would be like even crazier.
Don't get none of this wrong. Like I said, this defense is ready. Hold on, let's ask AJ, y'all. Which ranking is this defense, AJ?
This ranking, I say it's top 7.
It's top 7?
Yeah, it's top
7. Okay, because everybody else we've been talking, everybody been top 3, top 2.
Yeah,
you were the top 7.
I said top 5 for a couple. Don't.
Yeah, I said, come
on now, play a hater.
I said top 5, top 3. That's how you went. But you went to top 7. This defense is real.
100%.
The backups in preseason was getting turned over. It's like they just get turned over.
They out there hitting, coach.
So they're gonna hold this down. They're gonna keep it. They're gonna keep all the games manageable.
7 is spooky.
They're gonna keep the games manageable. Like I said, as long as Trey don't make a mistake and keep winning games, they're gonna be okay. But the fact that all we're really saying, and I'm gonna just speak for everybody, Jimmy G, they should have got rid of Jimmy G. Let's be honest. They got greedy. They had trades available for Jimmy G, and Sean Lynch got greedy. And next thing you know, teams kept moving on, and they were like, oh, you know what? Now all of a sudden you stuck with Jimmy G. But I mean,
yeah, they definitely got greedy.
This defense definitely top 5, AJ. We not going. I can't let you go. I can't let you go, Nate.
If you know that he's backup material, why you not trying to get backup material in return? Like, just get him out of here. Like,
but they was banking on teams being desperate. Like I said, they called y'all, and y'all didn't take the
like AJ said, like, this man was on tape with his eyes closed, making throws. So it was like, bro, no team's that desperate. Like,
we got to move on.
He definitely can manage the game, but in the fail clutch of circumstance, he was definitely afraid of the moment. And you don't that's what you're paying for when you want to acquire a quarterback. So it's like, ain't no team willing to pay those prices.
He said he had some. I think he said 2 seconds, or he had a second round pick on the table at one point.
Took it
close during the draft. What I say, he got greedy, bro. What I say?
I'm taking whatever they put on the table, man.
Teams do that, bro. They will get greedy.
And like he got greedy, but he got greedy early.
And it fuck up their whole market. Because if you sometimes you gotta just realize, hey, I got it. Let me just go for it.
And then like I say, we will see. That's we're gonna move on right off this last comment, bro. We will see. I guarantee we move him before the deadline.
I mean, which is very possible.
Very possible, but now in this new contract,
things will be more desperate right before the deadline.
He has final say now in this new contract, in this renegotiation that they did. But let's talk about these Rams. Run it back Rams is what I'm calling it.
Yeah, man.
Run it back Rams. And they improved on getting Bobby Wagner is an improvement to that defense. Yeah, they lost. Yeah, they lost Von Miller. I understand that, but hey. They're getting Bobby Wagner. He gonna definitely settle this defense down, get this defense where they need to be. They still got Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
They still got everybody in. But I'm intrigued about this team is I think we're finally going to see a new offense from Sean McVay. And the fact that last year, because what I really wasn't impressed about last year is like, okay, you brought back Stafford, but y'all was still running the same exact offense that you was running with Jared Goff. Yeah, you added a few wrinkles and you added a few new things that you could do with Stafford that you couldn't do with Goff. I understand that, but it was like pretty much the same offense. But now with the people that you have in place now with Allen Robinson, you can't treat Allen Robinson like he's Robert Woods. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like you had to so off that alone, you have to bring out a new offense, and I'm intrigued to see how Sean McVay does.
Yeah, and he got the switchblade, got Cup, so it's like
I'm definitely ready to see him duplicate how he did last season.
You got Cam Akers coming back. Cam Akers,
y'all more high on him than I am.
I like him.
I said y'all more high than him than I am.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's great, but I'm just saying he can work with that offense. That this is a high power. Like you just said, they got Stafford, they got Allen Robinson, they got Cooper Kupp. Come on, so it's like Cam Akers don't gotta be Barry Sanders. He just gotta not fumble and get positive yards. Do his job.
And when he came off of a torn Achilles in
he
2
came
weeks,
out like a madman. We was more impressed.
He was running hard
with his toughness because he's not a huge back, bro. And he where he come from, bro. Like
that's what I said.
And then also, one thing I do want to say about Cam Akers, like he's also still learning the position because he was a quarterback in high school.
But he didn't become a decent blocker too. He was like picking up blitzes. Like I like his toughness, man.
You making it seem like I said he was trash. I just said y'all was a little bit more high than I was.
But that's true. I ain't mad at that comment.
But that's because it's facts.
All right. Let's So how do y'all feel? How do y'all feel about the Rams? Because
I feel like they are the favorites in this division.
Okay, so that's what I really want to get to. Let's get to the nitty gritty because we definitely got to move on.
I feel like they're the favorites in this division. They bring everybody back. Von Miller, all the key pieces. You feel me? So, but they replace him with Bobby Wagner, like you said. So it's like, hey man, it's Stafford's second year. You add Allen Robinson. You laid the foundation. So it's like I expect you to ascend. You still got your guy. You know what I mean? AD, and you know what I mean? So it's like, hey man, I don't expect to see no regression. My only thing is, are y'all going to be able to stay healthy? That's going to be the biggest thing for them. I think they do because traditionally they, if they are gotta go down, next man up mentality type of team. So we'll see. Time will tell. That's my saying, but we'll see. But I got them taking the division. Probably 13 wins, 12, 13 wins.
So as far as like regression, I promise this is not hate because they beat us in the Super Bowl. But replacing Andrew Whitworth with Joe Noteboom, that offensive, to me, the only person that I'm confident is a high-level starter on that offensive line is Rob Havenstein. And with Matthew Stafford having the propensity to turn the ball over, and that offensive line ain't what it is, I think that's going to put them in a situation where he could possibly put them in some bad situations and make their team, like their defense, have to play with a short field. But also, I think McVay is smart enough to, coach around that. We will see. I don't know, but we will see. But I think there's going to be some record regression. And I think some of the fans of the NFC teams have, came at me when it was like, oh, the NFC is not weak. The NFC is definitely weaker than it once was because look at the mass exodus of talent that has left to go to the AFC. If we are just going, conference by conference on how many teams that you can truly consider a Super Bowl contender, it is weaker in my opinion. So I think their path to the playoffs is definitely going on a run in the playoffs is still pretty favorable for them. I think their biggest competition is going to be with the 49ers within the division.
Who own them?
Exactly. The 49ers within the division.
Who own them?
The 49ers within the division.
Who own them?
Okay. One more time. I would say the Eagles. I don't even know if we can consider the Packers a Super Bowl contender because there's so much questions that we actually need to see from them on the offense. Their defense is really good.
It's only three top.
Don't get him started, man.
But that's my point. That's my point. And that's what I say when the NFC is weaker. I don't feel like I'm reaching when I say that. If you go over to the AFC, You got the Bills. People believe that they are the Super Bowl contender. People still believe in the Chiefs because they got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. People are, sold on the Chargers because of the additions that they made to that defense. They got Justin Herbert. Everybody loves Justin Herbert.
You talking about the teams that we
about to say we about to get there.
My fault.
You let us get there. I got the 49ers winning the division. As much as I hate George in the comments, as much as he makes me feel that, it makes me want to have, but I want to be objective here. I think the fact that
if it's only 2 divisions this week. Sorry.
I have like the fact that the 49ers own the Rams, but I do feel that the Rams are a better team than they were the last year. Feel that they would have, I think they probably would still have a better record than they would have last year. But the funny thing about it is they wasn't the best team last year. They was a 4th seed. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like they may be a better, well, they can't technically be if I had the Rams winning, if I had the 49ers winning the division. But I do feel that
they should have lost that game because Matt Jaworski Tart literally dropped it.
That's why he on the street now.
Exactly.
That's literally why he on the street now for stuff like that. If he caught this interception, we have a totally different conversation. But I feel that, like I said, the what the 49ers have done in the offseason, even though I'm still not sold on Trey Lance, I feel that his dynamic on being able to run is going to help this offense get it together. I just think that they're just a better team. I got the 49ers winning the division.
That's the one. Trey Lance, the reason why I like the 49ers.
And I understand that.
And I like Trey Lance. I don't. I'm not ready to put it on him. I like him for as a work in progress. You feel me? I'm not ready to put it on him this year and think that he's gonna just be the top team in the division. If he does, because that team is well built all the way around, then shout out to him. But I think that he will have to do a little bit more than Jimmy G did to get them there. And I don't know if he can do that just yet. But in the spirit of everything, bro, we gotta keep it moving.
We definitely gotta keep it. We are trash.
So right, 100%. So I'm gonna just say I think the defense is gonna carry the 49ers to the division title.